I truly thought that today would be the final day that I'd really make any dedicated content, or at least scheduled content, when it came to Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, and just thought that this story would just kind of sail away off into the distance until appeals get filed and some people spurg out about actually having to fork over some cash. But I'd just be able to read these nice little statements. Well, one statement's nice, and the other one is absurd to say the least, but no, it looks like, and thanks to mainstream media, should have foreseen this happening, of course. Their spurg out and their double, tripling, quadrupling down on this subject is something to behold in and of itself. And the way that they're just totally embracing this narrative right now, it falls exactly in line with so many other things that we've seen over the past, 4, 5, 6 years, 6 specifically right here with this case. But with politics, right? Everybody losing their mind on both sides, right? For when it came to Trump, okay? You either had the zealots, okay, the Republicans over everything else, just diving dick deep into that stuff, okay? Or then everybody else and mainstream media just completely orange man bad NPC talk for the rest of the fucking time. And even still, you can hear just off in the distance them complaining, it's all about Trump. Yeah, of course it is, okay? And then more recently, I think was that earlier this year? Everything has just been a wash, right? But when it came to Black Lives Matter, right? Because they got real popular. Well, actually, it was about 2013, 2014-ish, okay? And then in 2016, and then back in 2020, we all remember all that stuff, okay? And then they had their martyr, okay? And they were still standing behind Jussie Smollett, and he's getting his career back. He's at least got cast in another role, which is fucking absurd. But now we're gonna have Me Too's little martyr that's out here, and the fucking mainstream media is going to be facilitating that comeback. But the man who actually cleared his name, and yes, as much as Twitter wants to paint it as, oh, actually, both people were proved to be liars. Well, not quite really. Who's at the end of the day got a fucking positive tally when it comes to damages collected. Eventually when they do get collected. But not long after I make the announcement video yesterday, both parties came out with their written statements. Okay, Johnny wasn't in the courtroom at the time, but not long after the verdict was read, he already had his announcement and his letter to everyone ready to go, posted on his Instagram account, and we got it right here in the flesh. I'm going to read it. I really like this. It's a very good statement. We'll just react to it as we go, I guess. 6 years ago, my life, the life of my children, the lives of those closest to me, and also the lives of the people who for many years have supported and believed in me were forever changed, all in the blink of an eye. False, very serious, and criminal allegations were levied at me via the media. Very important to keep that in mind, which triggered an endless barrage of hateful content, although no charges were ever brought against me. Yep, not a single police report, okay? The actual tangible evidence never materialized because it didn't happen. It didn't fucking happen. Another through line once we get through the rest of this stuff anyways. But yes, no charges were ever brought against me, and the media is dog shit. He didn't say it, but doesn't have to anymore. It had already traveled around the world twice within a nanosecond, and it had a seismic impact on my life and my career. And 6 years later, the jury gave me my life back. I am truly humbled. My decision to pursue this case, knowing very well the height of the legal hurdles that I would be facing, and the inevitable worldwide spectacle into my life, was only made more considerable after considerable thought. Edit that on the fly. From my very beginning, the goal of bringing this case was to reveal the truth, regardless of the outcome. Speaking the truth was something that I owed to my children and to all those people who remained steadfast in their support of me. I feel at peace knowing I have finally accomplished that. Second page. I am, and have been, overwhelmed by the outpouring of love and the colossal support and kindness from around the world. I hope that my quest to have the truth be told and will be helped others, men or women, who have found themselves in my situation, and that supporting them and never give up. I also hope that the position will now return to innocent until proven guilty, both within the courts and in the media. Innocent until proven guilty within the courts and in the media. God, I love that statement. I love that fucking statement, okay? I wish to acknowledge the noble work of the judge. She was really decent. Okay, she was fair on both sides. Her evidentiary objections were maybe a little bit goofy, okay, and the ones in court, you could pretty much decide on how she was going to rule on an objection by flipping a coin. She eventually did get better. At the beginning, it was a little bit shaky. It's like, that's hearsay. Well, it's not actually hearsay. But the other side is not really advocating for their objections. I'll just give it to the party who's making the most noise. That's kind of how it worked out in the end, and it kind of looks like Depp's team, who was a little bit weaker on the objections, did get wise to that and hip to that, and things ended up working out for the best. But then also Judge Azkarate really did a great job of controlling the spectacle that could have happened in the courtroom itself, okay, because outside of like one or two chuckles from the courtroom, okay, and a couple of weird outbursts throughout a 7-week trial with people lining up around the courthouse every single fucking night, not really anything was made outside of the spectacle that was the court case. That was just tertiary to this. She did a great job, okay? In the grand scope of things, of the judges in the high-profile cases that have been out there so far, she probably has done the best. I don't think that there's anything to really hold against her, okay? And I've watched considerable amounts of the trial. I'd say live, more about 75%, and then went back and rectified any deficiencies and missing any of the pertinent testimony at the time. But yeah, no, she did a great job. Anyways, the jurors, the court staff, and the sheriffs who have sacrificed their own time to get to this point, and to my diligent and unwavering legal team who did an extraordinary job in helping me share the truth. I'll just say the legal team was very good. Various quality, some of their examination was, but overall, it was a really good team. Okay. The best is yet to come, and a new chapter has finally begun. Veritas nunquam perit. Truth never perishes. Very good statement. Excellent statement. And you notice what it is? It's all addressing the situation, okay? The entirety of the court, the entirety of the case, the situation, just being able to tell the truth and everybody who helped him get to this point. This wasn't about Johnny Depp. This was about everybody involved in the situation. And now we're going to take a look at the other party involved, and we're going to see if we can play spot the difference in the quality of statement, okay? Because we got Amber Heard's statement right here. Not long after that, just about at the same time, she released it on Twitter, because she has a Twitter account, because of course she does. Johnny doesn't, at least what I know and can see. And as you can see here, yep, she got her statement, and what's very important to see about this is it's getting ratioed to fuck. Okay, 196,500 quote tweets, which is significant because she's limiting how many people can directly reply to it. It's like 67 people. Okay, she only follows like a handful of people, so it's really not significant at all. As opposed to 144,000 likes, which is, that's definitely something. So yeah, she's even getting ratioed on her own fucking statement. But I got a better place to read from. Anyways, care of women posting their L's online. We got Amber Heard's statement here, and there, for their hilariousness, they actually got more likes than Amber Heard's post, which is kind of funny in and of itself. But let's read this statement, and let's just see if we can play spot the difference, or see who's actually taking accountability, because that was something that Amber Heard's legal team was saying. Oh, Johnny Depp never takes accountability for any of his actions, and Amber Heard actually owns up to her deficiencies. They said that. They actually said that. Anyways, the disappointment I feel today is beyond words. Oh, it didn't take you very long to make it all about you. That's terrific. I'm heartbroken that the mountain of evidence still was not enough to stand up for the disproportionate power, influence, and sway of my ex-husband. What mountain of evidence? Because we heard your testimony, and we heard corroborating stories from literally nobody, but they were talking about similar situations that may or may not have happened, and you didn't really actually hear it from any people who weren't like blood relatives, and then also you had to pay them to be there. But we've seen a lot of video of people who are no longer in your life, so I guess that's mountains of evidence. By mountains, do you mean those pictures that you turned over that weren't from the source devices, that they just came from an iTunes backup, generations, removed. Is that what we're talking about here? But again, the jury would have found in her favor, okay, if the mountain of evidence would have been there. She tried to pull that shit on cross-examination. Well, there are pictures, and I turned everything over, and if I could show them to the jury, then we'd have a different story to tell. Okay, you know why the jury didn't see those pictures? It's not because nobody wanted to publish them. It's because they don't exist. Anyways, I'm back to me, female solipsism, just totally on fucking display here, okay? This is so far beyond borderline personality, so far beyond histrionic, narcissistic personality disorder, or even PTSD, right? This is just her trying to play the victim, but don't you dare call her a victim, because she'll hop out of that witness box. She might be back in at one point or another. Anyways, I'm even more disappointed with what this verdict means for other women. Yeah, exactly. Now they can't destroy a man's career for the better part of 6 years, okay? They can't just ruin a man's life with one fucking word, with one little lie. Now they're actually going to have to provide evidence of heinous acts that you want to allege people on? That's great. Wonderful. Thanks. I'm glad you did that. It is a setback. Yeah, a setback for liars. It sets back the clock to a time when a woman would just stand at the stove and make dinner on time so you don't get a second black eye. Oh no, who spoke up and spoke out could be publicly shamed and humiliated. No, exactly. If you would have just literally documented fucking anything of importance that wasn't, just drawn onto your face in order to elicit some sort of a response, okay? Or take a picture of your plastic surgery injuries, like a little fucking injection point on your lip, or maybe, hey, some Botox injection points right underneath your eye, or just show any swelling and your Arnica cream, or Arnica cream, for like regular people. You know when that's mostly used? For people healing up from certain surgical events. Just gonna let that one hang out there for a minute. Yep, of course. I believe Johnny's attorneys succeeded in getting the jury to overlook the key issue of freedom of speech. Zero self-awareness, okay? And ignore evidence that was so conclusive that we won in the UK. Oh, you were sued in the UK? Oh, wait, you weren't even party to the lawsuit in the UK. But more on that in a moment, because boy, do we got an interview for you. I'm sad I lost this case. I'm sure you are, because you're broke as fuck. But I'm sadder still that I seem to have lost the right I thought I had as an American to lie and defame somebody. No, that's not a right. Okay, to speak freely and openly. Get ratioed, you fucking cunt. Anyways, speaking of fucking cunts, actually there's two of them, okay? We got Savannah Guthrie, who is hilarious in and of herself. You might remember she was the harpy who questioned Donald Trump during what would have been the second presidential debate, which would have been the town hall one, where Joe Biden would have had to wander around the stage like a fucking aimless old asshole and probably trip and fall off of it, and that's why they canceled that one. It had nothing to do with the COOF diagnosis at the time. But anyways, no, she was there. She was the question asker at the time, and she was unhinged then. And, she performed a really hard-hitting interview with Elaine Bredehoft. Yep, not literally. Okay, this happened this morning on the Today Show. This isn't a podcast like fucking Butte, Montana, okay? This isn't a phone call into a radio station in the middle of fucking Arkansas. This is the Today Show. And do you know what she's there doing? Peddling all of the nonsense that Amber Heard just put on fucking Front Street for the better part of, 6 years? Even longer than that still, okay? Regurgitating the same fucking lies over and over and over again. And we're going to react to this. It's only 5 minutes long, and I think it's worth every fucking second. So yeah, let's try not to barf, I guess.
We are joined now by Amber Heard's attorney, Elaine Bredehoft. Good morning to you. It's good to see you. First question, how is Amber doing? We saw her hearing that verdict. It took a long time to read.
It didn't. It took actually, it would have been done at the top of the hour, if not for the jury to not fill out, because I went back and I watched the clip at the time, right? Because they said that you had to go back and you guys got to fill out one of the damages boxes. It was the compensatory damages. Didn't say which side it was supposed to be, but considering Amber Heard only got the ruling of the $2 million of compensatory damages and no punitive damages, methinks it was probably that, okay? The jury wanted to give her a victory on the most most comprehensive, elaborate statement that was there. The one that was a paragraph, right? And it had specific references, which were never borne out in court, okay? That her, and Rocky Pennington, Josh Drew, what was Mars Girl there, or whatever the fuck, but all three, at least the three of them conspired to drum up the drama of the March 21st, 2016 event. May 21st, 2016. That's what it was, right? One where they spilled around a little wine and then corroborated and got their story straight by the direction of a lawyer and a publicist. That wasn't exactly borne out to be true one way or another. So I guess with the little, if somebody was like super autistic on the jury and was like, well, technically that was never proven to be one way or another, so we should probably rule in that direction. But then, you know, they were so firm, the jury, this is, they were so firm in that decision, they forgot to fill out the box. It's like, can you just, you know, like give her something? Like, I don't know, $2 million. They just kept, like, their side just kept banging on about that $2 million. So it's not really going to take away anything from Johnny, and she's still not going to be able to fucking pay any of this nonsense anyway. So I don't know, $2 million. That sound good to you? Great, let's roll. I forgot where we were. Let's roll it back a little bit. I know she was asking, well, how's the Amber? But I don't really care.
It took a long time to read. It was a sweeping verdict for Johnny Depp.
No, she still won on one count.
How did she handle it?
You know,
she probably, I wonder how good her makeup regimen is, because I'm sure she probably beat the brakes off of somebody there, okay? This is why Elaine's given this dissertation, this fucking after the fact, you know, damage report, because probably one of those junior associates, probably itchy neck, probably just got fucking worked over a little bit.
one of the first things she said is, I am so sorry to all those women out there. This is a setback.
You can just see, okay, that wasn't at all what Amber Heard first said, okay? She might have said that after the fact, maybe if she was still just trying to fucking make up for lost time. But the fact that Elaine is shaking her head as she's delivering that, oh, this is the first thing that she said, it's a setback to all women. No, she was probably like, I'm gonna fucking I'm gonna make sure that the next thing that Johnny loses is a little bit more than his fucking finger, okay? If there's gonna be a Pirate 6, that motherfucker's gonna have a hook hand. Knowing how she talks behind the scenes, okay, all of the audio recordings that were out there, you know, the actual mountain of evidence, unfortunately it was just against Amber Heard. She is the one who has just a ruthless fucking vulgar language, okay? And this is from a guy who uses fuck shit, piss, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, and tits on a regular basis every fucking video, because I like to, but I also have a fairly diverse vocabulary, which I like to put out on display every once in a while, as opposed to Amber Heard, who can't think up. And you can always tell, and this is something that I always found very telling when it came to her testimony as to the damage that Johnny Depp was doing, and all the harassment and abuse that he used to level against me, and when he'd yell all of these things at me. Whenever we heard Johnny on the audio recordings, he wasn't the one who was constantly repeating himself, okay? That was always Amber Heard. But yet all of her allegations used to be, oh, Johnny would just yell the same thing at me all the time. You're just a fucking go-getter. You're just easy. You're a, and then couldn't think up a lie on the fly, so it'd be, and other expletives. Sure thing, sweetheart. But who was the one who was caught on audio recordings yelling, suck my dick, suck my dick? Oh, the only thing that Johnny actually repeated was just an Aquaman. And we're all glad that he actually did that. So let's run this back a little bit so, you know, we can hear Elaine, I don't know, fucking natter uncontrollably. You know what, if the Today Show actually had good humor, they should have just hired Camille to be the cameraman, okay? Maybe just so like Elaine would get on stage so it wouldn't notice her. She'd put on like the Groucho Marx glasses and maybe a wig or something like that, and then just rip them off and then just toss objections at her and then just listen to her stutter and stammer. But that's just me. That's what I would do. That would get ratings, unlike this fucking abomination.
All those women out there, this is a setback for all women in and outside the courtroom. And she feels it, and she feels the burden of that.
Well, knowing the case and knowing the law, as you certainly do, it favors defendants like Amber Heard. Are you stunned that the jury essentially rejected her story?
You should be, but I bet you aren't.
Well, you know, really what happened here is it's a tale of two trials.
How so? This is the first time that this case has ever been brought, and you lost a sweeping victory, right?
Johnny Depp brought a suit in the UK for the same case.
No, No, that's not true at all. That was against the Sun, the UK Sun, okay, newspaper, the Sun, owned by the Murdoch family, okay, and the judge in that case, in the UK case, that was against Dan Wooten and the Sun, which he lost, okay. Amber Heard was not party to that, okay. She was called as a witness for the Sun, okay, and none of the mountain of evidence that was allowed into that case came from Amber Heard. She was allowed to just fucking regurgitate her story over the course of, how long did she say she was on trial? That court case wasn't videotaped, okay? All you got was just readouts. That is exactly what Amber Heard's side wanted, because they didn't want to see this terrible actress up there on the stand. They wanted the media, the same media that's giving Elaine's dumbass a fucking platform right now. They wanted them to be able to control the media, because how much different would the testimony of Amber Heard be as perceived by the greater society right now if you got a readout of, and then Johnny Depp bent me over a bar and shoved a Maker's Mark bottle into my cunt? That'd be a little bit different than the fantastical acting with the emotional sobbing sans tears than what the jury got to see, than what the greater community got to meme into oblivion. But yeah, no, continue to tell us, Elaine, how the UK trial was literally the exact same thing, regardless of the fact that it was in another country under a different set of legal standards, and it was a different fucking case on just about every fucking ground, okay?
And the burden of proof was easier for him there. The Sun had to actually prove that it was true, and the court found there, and we weren't allowed to tell the jury this, but the court found that Mr.
Yeah, they weren't allowed to tell them the outcome of the UK trial because that would prejudice them, okay? Because this is the first time that the actual evidence that's provided by both sides was allowed to come out, okay? Just like Johnny Depp's side wasn't allowed to bring up until your dumbass made it an issue. Both of them, just whatever. That, yeah, maybe Amber Heard has a little bit of a history when it comes to figuring out and dealing with some of her previous relationships, okay? Or maybe if you would have got just a little bit deeper into it, and I know some people have dug this up as well, but she has a sealed juvenile record in the state of Texas where she was driving drunk, okay, and got a DUI, and may or may not have accidentally killed her best friend in a motor vehicle accident, something like that. Those records are all sealed, of course, and you can't see them, and I know a lot of people want perjury charges. It's not gonna fucking happen. It's not gonna happen. Stop. Enough. At least in the United States, okay? It doesn't matter that she lied constantly. It doesn't matter that it was actually contradicted multiple times by a bunch of different people on the same stand. It's not gonna happen, okay? Because candor to the court has to be allowed. Everybody can't be walking on pins and needles, because you'd always get the same response from every single witness who takes a stand via video deposition, via video link, or even in the box itself. You would just get the I don't recall that, I don't know. You just always get that. So you have to give them a little bit of deference. These gross exaggerations, it doesn't matter how terrible it is. This is a civil case after all. You have to get so grandiose and you have to get so defamatory with your statements before perjury charges even get entertained. They might get investigated. Somebody might throw out that little lifeline, but when it comes to United States perjury charges against Amber Heard, ain't likely. In the UK, though, totally different story, because something else that didn't come out during the UK trial was that Amber Heard, she said that, yep, you know what, I donated all of that money to the ACLU and the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, and then on the stand right here, eventually, finally, after a lot of prodding and a lot of poking, okay, and a lot of fucking semantic word gameplay with pledge and donate, you admitted that, yeah, no, didn't quite fulfill those donations, because he also had the ACLU's lead counsel, and I can't remember that little fucking hobbit's name, but he's like, yeah, no, haven't quite received that money yet, but it's fine because pledges don't expire, right? Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. So yeah, might be they're investigating the perjury charge in the UK, so that might be over there. And then also there's another perjury case. It has nothing really to do with anything in Australia as well. That stems back all the way to the smuggling the dogs into the country gimmick. So that one's a far way out, and that one I don't know a whole heck of a lot, but I know at least a little bit about the investigation when it comes to the UK. And then as for any charges domestically, ain't gonna fucking happen. So just get out of yourself if you're in that mindset for the moment.
Mr. Depp had committed at least 12 acts of domestic violence, including sexual violence
because
against
she believes
Amber.
so.
So what did Depp's team learn from this? Demonize Amber and suppress the evidence.
And what did Amber's side learn about this? Make up more grandiose claims, okay? And then just get more fantastical with the stories that you tell. Even though there are some people that you didn't anticipate coming to the stand, like Morgan Knight, you know, the guy who founded, owned, and operated the Hicksville Trailer Palace. And it's like, yeah, the trailer that they rented, it didn't look like a bomb blew up. And in fact, it was 2 sconces that totaled $62 that was broken. And yeah, I don't own a mesh shirt, so I don't know what you're talking about. Have him come out of the woodworks, and then Morgan Tremaine also, you know what, show up and basically say, without actually saying, that TMZ got the video from Amber, and that Amber's team may not have exactly been Amber, but if you're going to go ahead and try to sue and hold Johnny Depp accountable for what his agent said that was defamatory, you got to hold the same principles on your side as well, because maybe it was the publicist who was at the courthouse at the same time you're getting that domestic violence restraining order, tipped off TMZ and also told them, yeah, she's going to have a bruise or some sort of dark mark on her cheek and she's going to go ahead and turn, so make sure you get that shot when you send all of the paparazzi that are down there. And she goes through the public exit, even though there's like an underground secret exit from that courthouse for high-profile people, because it is Los Angeles after all. Don't mind any of that stuff. All of that evidence, nope, it's totally fine, and we would have won the case, you know what, if we were just allowed to hold true to those same evidentiary standards that the United Kingdom has, which is weird because this is the United States, and you couldn't win then, now could you?
We had an enormous amount of evidence that was suppressed in this case that was in the UK case.
Like what?
UK case, when it came in, Amber won, Mr. Depp lost.
But here,
there's no difference, okay? You said that you turned everything over, okay? You had every fucking opportunity to provide everything that was there, okay? And now she's going to make some more fantastical claims, because I did a dry run of this clip because I thought that, yes, today we'd be able to just wrap everything up, okay? Because the salt mines, oh, they're a-flowing right now, but there was far too much goodness in this video right here, and it would have taken up far too much time. So the article is in mainstream press tomorrow. Anyways.
here's the thing. You were able to get some evidence that you say demonstrated abuse. You certainly had her testimony. There were pictures, documents, all kinds of evidence. But in point of fact, the jury rejected it.
Yeah, that should say something about your evidence. Just saying. Because, yeah, you got a whole bunch of evidence in there. And it didn't matter at all.
You argued in your closing arguments that if they found even one instance of abuse, and it did not even have to be physical abuse, that they would have to find for Amber Heard, and they didn't.
And the other part to bear in mind here is nothing changed. The op-ed didn't even mention Mr. Depp by name.
Yeah, but Amber also admitted that she wrote it about Johnny Depp, if you don't want to, even note that. And it's nice of Savannah to reference the closing arguments, and that point was actually not brought up by Elaine. So, yeah, that's tough. That was a part of Rottenborn's closing argument, because I don't remember a fucking thing outside of, yeah, I know we sued for $100 million, but we don't really want that much. Okay, that was Elaine Bredehoft's part, and she just fire hosed information for like 45-50 minutes and then cried afterwards. I have no sympathy. I know I said some decent things, okay, and I had a story that, maybe she got wrapped up in the situation. Maybe she had a come to God moment after crying in the bathroom and everybody was around to see it. But the fact that she's still out here stumping for Amber Heard after the big fucking L that they all had to hold, fuck her.
Name. And so what basically they did here is demonize her. And they were able to suppress the medical records, which were very, very significant because they showed a pattern going all the way back to 2012.
2012. Oh, okay, cool. So literally, we seen medical records that were there, and the only ones that documented any sort of abuse or any sort of injuries, yeah, those were from Johnny. Okay, Amber didn't have any medical records. Okay, she never sought any sort of treatment for any of the injuries that were there. That was her admission on the stand. So, are they just gonna make up medical records, or oh no, we needed to take a look at the nebulous notes of one of her mental health professionals from all of the self-admitted, self-reported injuries that Amber Heard sustained that you can't corroborate between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. You got to take those as medical records. They aren't medical records, you fucking dunce. But then at the same time, oh yes, Johnny Depp's side demonized Amber Heard. No, we heard some of those audio recordings. Amber Heard is actually a demon, and in defamation cases, truth is absolute defense. So yeah.
Of Amber reporting this to her therapist, for example.
There you go.
We had significant amount of texts, including from Mr. Depp's assistants, saying, when I told him he kicked you, he cried.
Okay, when I told he kicked you, he cried. Okay, did she just slip up there, or is she retarded? Okay, those two statements could be contemporaneous, and they could actually line up together. But anyways, no, that's obviously another admission that, yeah, no, Johnny Depp cried after Amber Heard abused him. Okay, yeah, no, that all checks out. Okay, I think the past 7 weeks have kind of borne that out, so I don't think any more cumulative evidence would have helped anything. But let's just say that some text messages were left out, okay? Those are probably hearsay text messages. That's probably why they weren't allowed to come in. They probably involved a whole bunch of other people. And even still, even if they were admissions of abuse, they're probably the same types of admission as when you were also trying to put out the theory that Johnny Depp cut off his own finger because he said, when I cut off my finger. Okay, that's one way to go.
He is so sorry. That didn't come in.
Is there any other way to interpret this verdict, though, that this jury, for whatever reason, and I hear you on some of the evidence that they didn't hear, listening to Amber Heard, did not believe a single word?
Yeah, see, this is where MSM is giving Elaine and therefore Amber the way out, okay? Is there any way that we can still try to hold on to our narrative and some way find a W in this massive amount of L right now? Let's see. There's going to be a fucking excuse on the horizon.
You know, and that's because she was demonized here. A number of things were allowed in this court that should not have been allowed. And
remember, it's everybody else's fault except for Amber and her team. They're perfect and wonderful, and if only we could have provided some of the evidence that those evil judges, throwing the judge under the bus right now, throwing the evidence under the bus, everything that was thrown out, oh, that definitely would have won it for us. No, it wouldn't have. You guys ran a shitty case, you had shitty facts, and you had a shitty client. Just fucking hold the L. But you're not. This goes on. More people get thrown under the bus, trust me.
And it caused the jury to be confused. We weren't allowed to tell them about the UK judgment. So the damages is completely skewed. There are no damages. It stopped at November 2, 2020, which is when the judgment came down in the UK.
Yeah, no, exactly. And Johnny Depp had already lost his fucking career by November 20th, or by November 2nd, 2020. So what the fuck are you trying to do here?
Let me ask you about social media in this case. Unlike any celebrity case, certainly I've ever covered or ever seen, social media was a part of this. And it was incredibly lopsided and vitriolic against Amber Heard.
The mainstream media, and again, like tomorrow when we take a look at their writings and their scrawlings, and these are from big outlets, by the way, big in the sense of they used to be reputable in some form or fashion, but they are continuing to try to push the injustice was served here narrative, okay? It's everybody else's fault except for Amber Heard, and why won't you just believe our fucking queen of the Me Too movement? They are so butthurt that social media, that coverage like mine and so many other people are paying attention to this, mostly because we're just, people who are interpreting the facts as they're presented in front of us, applying a little bit of common sense to this, and not just trying to follow a narrative, not just trying to believe all women. We're trying to believe all facts that were presented, okay? And the way that they're trying to spin this, it was just so vitriolic, and therefore if it's on social media, it's not vetted because we have standards and guidelines, even though we've done the best to just absolutely fucking torch every bit of credibility that you have left. You take a look at any opinion polls that are put out there. The only thing that is less like than the government is the fucking media, and justifiably so.
Do you think that had an effect on the case?
Absolutely.
You think jurors were aware of it? They weren't supposed to be. They're admonished every single day. Don't look at it. Do you think?
Here's where Elaine also, okay, so let's take a look at the people that she's thrown under the bus so far. Okay, so it's the judge's fault. It's the defense's fault. It's the evidence's fault. Okay, it's the evidence that wasn't allowed to be in. It's that fault as well. It's not being able to bring in the UK case. And now it's the jury's fault.
I think they did see it.
How can you not? They went home every night. They have families. The families are on social media. We had a 10-day break in the middle because of the judicial conference. There's no way they couldn't have been influenced by it. And it was horrible. It really, really was lopsided. And I appreciate your saying that. It's like the Roman Colosseum.
She's retarded. Anyways, yeah, no. Okay, so they all took oaths. Okay, they were all supposed to follow the word of the court. So you're just going to go out there and say that 9 people that were sitting there in the jury box, and at some point or another there was 11, but 2 of them got dismissed for whatever reasons. Okay, but no, those 9 people, they just, didn't adhere to their responsibilities at all. Okay, they were just equally as biased by the coverage that was out there. But then again, if the facts, which you're saying are out there in some form or fashion, that if everybody else got to see everything else is getting put out on social media, like the different audio tapes that were out there that just further implicate Amber Heard in the wrongdoing in the relationship, okay, couldn't have also been looking at some of the potentially helpful evidence that's out there that would have helped your side. Okay, it was all just simply going to be all pro Depp, okay, which I'm not going to doubt, okay, and I'm not going to refute at all whatsoever that the overwhelming coverage of this stuff is Johnny Depp based, okay. And that's why they're so butthurt, okay? And that's why Elaine's on the stage right there getting this interview. The mainstream media is so butthurt because once again, they're losing their grasp in real fucking time, okay? And that's why, even though this is Johnny Depp and this is a terrible situation, it's good that it happened to Johnny Depp. Let me explain, okay? This is such a high-profile target, okay? This is such a high-profile couple, and most people have at least a general idea of what's going on. It has so many fantastical claims, from poop on the bed to a severed finger, okay? A beautiful movie star and an older gentleman, okay? The S-tier actor that's out there that is Johnny Depp, okay? And then at her peak, like a B-tier actor in Amber Heard, making these fantastical claims, okay, and then exposing the intersexual dynamics that even happen. Because this could just be something that happens if you just want to take a look at the facts on their face value, okay? This was what? It took place on multiple continents, okay, involving really expensive locations and a bunch of people living a lavish life of drug-fueled alcohol binges night after night after night for the better part of, 5 years, okay? And multiple people were there because they were living in these huge penthouses as well. It could only happen to people like this. But these types of domestic violence situations, the toxicity in these types of relationship, it doesn't matter if you're a billionaire or if you're a hundredaire. This shit is going to happen, and it's waking up a lot of people. At least I hope so. At least I hope that this right here is piercing the narrative when it comes to intersexual dynamics and relationship problems for everybody that's out there. And because this is such a high-profile case and so many people were watching it and now seeing, and it should probably be just a fucking tidal wave of nonsense over the weekend. Maybe tomorrow won't be the last video that I do on this stuff. But people who were paying attention to this case, okay, and even if they were just watching clips or just watching recap videos, are just going to be able to see that it's like, actually, you know what? I was following this case a little bit better than the mainstream media is, and they're just outright lying to me. It doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense. There have been a bunch of different red pilling moments, okay, and to use it as a verb is cringe as fuck, but this is what happens, right? Eventually, the one case, okay, the one instance that really hits home for you, that's the one that puts the crack in the wall, okay? It throws the vodka bottle, it hits the wall, and there's a little crack that's there. Continue the analogy, right? But then you start to realize that, maybe everything that I've been told and everything that I just believe on face value by these people that are just out there for their own personal gain, because that's what they're alleging here when it comes to the overwhelming pressure on social media, and they're only doing it for the clicks and the money. Those are the other articles that are out there, and they're going to be going hard pressed on this stuff right now, because Me Too, one of the pet movements of mainstream media, is being taken down by this, and I couldn't be fucking happier from it. But they're so butthurt that social media, oh, they're only doing it for clicks and views, and they're just being really vitriolic and misogyny against Amber Heard on this one. So that's the only reason why they're popular, and they can get away with it on social media, because there's no regulations that are over there. They're gonna try real fucking hard, okay? And we already seen this when it came to the political game, okay? Making any assumptions about what the fuck went on in previous election cycles. That's totally fucking verboten when it comes to YouTube, and YouTube, unfortunately, is the biggest pond and gets the most reach that's out there, and that's fine, okay? There's no use discussing exactly what went on back there, but at least when you take a look in hindsight, okay, getting all of the evidence that's out there and doing your own investigations and trying to figure out exactly what went on in order to rectify it so that heinous situation doesn't happen again. That woke up a bunch of people then, okay? And then Smollett, again, for the whole believe Black Lives Matter, their message, if you're against Black Lives Matter, that just means that you hate black people. No, Black Lives Matter supported, unironically, Jussie Smollett all the way through and up to and including his conviction, him going to jail, and then him getting out of jail, okay? And then also the founders that were there of that organization funneling all of those millions and just about billions of dollars, and where exactly did all that money go, okay? Maybe realizing that all of these narratives that are out there, okay, the I support the current thing gimmick, maybe having an opinion on something will eventually start to move towards an informed opinion on things. Just like Johnny said in his statement, okay? Innocent until proven guilty in the courts and in the media. Let's round this out, because there's still a little bit more to this fucking 5-minute clip, and I've already proselytized for far too long, but whatever.
You know, how they viewed this whole case. I was against cameras in the courtroom, and I went on record with that, and
yeah, and the only reason why they're in the courtroom, it's not like Johnny Depp's side advocated for cameras in the courtroom. They were just ambivalent to the process. But you can see why, based on the performance that Elaine gave and Amber gave and her video witnesses that were out there. They wanted to control the narrative because they knew the case that they were presenting was garbage. And everything that happened in the UK, right? The different claims that were presented, and Johnny Depp was found to have committed 12 of the 14 domestic violence and sexual violence claims that were over there, was because everything was kept under wraps, okay? And everybody just kind of has ideas as to what went on in the UK, and then they have to trove through so many fucking documents in order to find the inconsistencies in the 7 different witness statements that Amber Heard gave, okay? On top of everybody else that was there. It was a shit show, and it was totally avoided because there were cameras in the courtroom, something that should be happening with every fucking trial, every single trial. And their justification for, we shouldn't have had cameras in here, and Elaine's gonna say it, but I'll just go ahead and cut her off so we can let this roll just a little bit. Oh, it's because it's such a sensitive topic. What was so sensitive about it? Amber Heard stealing the fucking bottle rape story from her previous assistant? Oh, okay, cool. That's nice. That's why it's so sensitive. It didn't happen. It didn't happen to you.
And had argued against it because of the sensitive nature of this. But it made it a zoo.
Does your client want to appeal?
Oh, absolutely. And she has some excellent grounds for it.
No, she doesn't. No, she doesn't, okay? Because realistically, okay, the overarching thing when it comes to appeals, okay, I know I'm using real technical terms here, but when it comes to an appeal, you have to realize that one of the first things that the 3 judges have to look at when it comes to the verdict is, could a reasonable jury, based on the facts delivered in court, come to that decision? That already fails that test, because that is a very reasonable, logical decision that any jury could come to based on the facts that were provided, okay? If you want to lodge that appeal, and I know it doesn't work this way, but it sure would be funny if they end up removing that $2 million judgment, because nowhere in there did you ever, your side, did you ever provide evidence that Adam Waldman acted as an agent for Johnny Depp? Yeah, no, yeah, there might not be a tree you want to bark up, but you're going to anyway, so she's going to be filing an appeal, and I can't wait for that dog shit argument to come out, and that docket, it's going to be beautiful.
Even had tried to get the UK judgment in to dismiss his case because he already had his shot.
They're different lawsuits on different grounds, you fucking old fossil.
And that's one of the issues, but also a number of the evidentiary issues. There was so much evidence that did not come in.
And that would have got us a victory, right? No, it wouldn't have. Because if it was relevant, it would have been brought in this case. But you don't have the evidence. It doesn't exist.
Is she able to pay a $10.4 million judgment?
Here's the laugh of the century, boys. This is what we're all here for, and this is what we already know. I got to run this back real quick.
Is she able to pay a $10.4 million judgment?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
You know why Elaine knows that? Because she's not going to get fucking paid for her services.
Finally, in closing arguments, Amber's team argued that this would send a message, that it would send a message that no matter what you do as an abuse victim, you always have to do more. You need to be perfect in order for people to believe you.
You know what's funny about that? There was a motion, and you might have heard that during the one jury question that was put in front of the judge. There was a motion because it was improper argument. You are not allowed to make an emotional appeal like Ben Rottenborn did by saying that, oh, if you don't find for Amber Heard, that sends a message to all domestic abuse survivors that you won't be believed. That was an improper argument to make during closing statements, and they filed a motion for that. Okay, they should have objected to it at the time, but I can understand for optics reasons and because they placated me too. Okay, that was Ben Chu's argument, or at least his portion of the closing argument at the time was at least paying a little bit of lip service to that. Yeah, when victims come out, we should listen to the victims. Okay, yeah, no, that's totally fine. Investigate the evidence. I don't want to be believing all anybody, really. Okay, I don't want to spin this into a believe all men when men come forward with claims. Okay, believe the evidence. Okay, investigate the claims, not just fucking believe all people, because people lie, people suck.
If she did not get a favorable verdict, what message do you think this sends?
It's a
lie better.
Horrible message.
You're a horrible lawyer.
A setback. It's a significant setback because that's exactly what it means. Unless you pull out your phone and you video your spouse or your significant other beating you,
instead of just beating some cabinets. Somebody else who literally, okay, speaking of Amber, once again, okay, she's got audio recordings of Johnny just moaning along with an airplane motor, okay, that's airplane engine, a motor, like it's a fucking Model T. No, but just moaning along with that, that's somehow traumatic and dangerous. Okay, wonderful, fantastic, thanks for that. You're supposed to, yeah, actually take pictures and document evidence of abuse. That would help your case, and I think that would help anybody's case that's out there. If you're actually being abused, if you're actually being a victim, you should be able to produce that shit. It's not that hard to figure out.
Effectively, you won't be believed.
Elaine Bredehoft, thank you very much for your time this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
What, if any, thanks did you receive for appearing on the Today Show? Yeah, no, that was nauseating, and I cannot believe that happened. I can, because the media is not going to let this fucking die down. They're going to continue to just push on with the same narrative because they can't change, okay? And they're just going to be doubling down on their attacks, okay? They're going to be coming after independent content creators. They're going to be coming after anybody who decides to pierce the veil of the narrative because, again, you just take a look here, okay? Jury finds both Amber Heard and Johnny Depp were defamed after weeks-long trial. They won't actually give you the fucking information on this. They aren't going to give you a fair recitation of events, okay? They aren't going to tell you that UK trial was probably decided under some dubious circumstances, as much as Elaine wants to, proselytize to you that that's exactly what happened. We could take a look at the one lawyer who was thrown out on this one, Adam Waldman. He's got a picture of the Royal Courts of Justice on his Instagram account. He's not on Twitter anymore. He got thrown out for calling Amber Heard a liar. I wonder if he has good appeals ground for that right now. The truth is only what you get away with, huh? Kanye West, quote, full stop. Interesting. I don't know what they can do. Maybe the statute of appeals, if such a thing exists in the UK, if that happens there, but there's a lot of shady shit that happened over there. It's not quite what Elaine and what quite Amber wants you to believe, but it's what the media wants you to believe, but I'll take it from the source right here. So yeah, the headlines, man. Like, I didn't think that this video would be this long, but tomorrow's probably going to be another fucking Buster episode because, video, because, oh God, some of them are just so fucking cancerous. But with all of that said, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.